And now it's time for sports news. Here's Nyota Ege.
Thank you, Lumide. Welcome to sport. Despite being handed what many consider to be a fair draw, Super Eagles coach Stephen Keshi insists it's not an easy World Cup group. Nigeria has been placed in Group F along with Iran, Bosnia-Herzegovina and Argentina. But Keshi believes that the team's performance next year will depend more on how the team prepares than on their opponent. He however admitted that his immediate attention is not on the World Cup but on the African Nations Championship. His counterpart from Iran, Coach Carlos Queiroz, acknowledged Nigeria as strong opposition but was quick to warn that it would be wrong for anyone to write his team off. And in the English Premier League, Yohan Care's goal earned Newcastle United a 1-0 victory and consigned Manchester United to a second consecutive home loss for the first time in 11 years. The loss to Alan Pardew's side, the first time Newcastle has won at Old Trafford since 1972, was the champions' fifth of the campaign and leaves manager David Moyes under increasing pressure to turn their season around. Newcastle struck on the break when Kabe fired home Musa Sissoko's cross.
Sissoko gets the break off Evra. Newcastle with ready alert. Chance for Kabe! 1-0! And it's Newcastle!
In other results, Stoke City's Usama Asaidi scored a superb late winner as they came from behind to stun Chelsea and earned just their fourth Premier League win this season. Scholes' fine low shot gave the Blues a deserved lead, while Peter Crouch's close-range strike leveled matters. A lovely curled effort by substitute Stephen Ireland put the Porters ahead after the break, only for Scholes to level with a magnificent half volley. Liverpool is second in the Premier League after their 4-1 victory over West Ham. A magical equalizer from Dani Osvaldo secured a deserved draw for Southampton as Manchester City's stuttering away form in the league continued. And finally, back here in Africa, South Africa's Sports Minister Fikile Mbalula today laid flowers outside the home of late Nelson Mandela in Soweto, saying that his team wanted to pay respect to Madiba's memory and give courage to his family. Mr. Mbalula said Nelson Mandela understood the role of sport in uniting the people of South Africa. According to him, the late former president's magical effect had far-reaching consequences in the 1995 Rugby World Cup final, which was held in South Africa.
The moment that stands out is the winning of the Rugby World Cup. There can never be anything compared to that. It is a moment that everyone, black and white, exploded and began to understand what it means to be a South African. And I think that is the most important, outstanding moment, because afterwards our national teams did well, and also at the club level, and also individual athletes began to win gold in the Olympics. And because of the Madiba magic, family is doing exceptionally well, and we were here just to pay our respects, and I think they are keeping together and they appreciate what South Africans and the world over, the pouring messages of support that have come through, they indeed do appreciate it.
And that's it on Sports News. Back to you, Lumide.
Thank you, Nyota. On the foreign scene, more mourners have continued to troop to tribute sites across South Africa to honor the global icon, Nelson Mandela, who died on Thursday. At his home in Johannesburg today, the picture was most vibrant as the entire block surrounding the home had hundreds of people dancing to a brass band in celebration of his life. President Jacob Zuma will be among those attending special church services in Mandela's honor on a day tagged the National Day of Reflection. On Monday the 9th, a joint sitting of the Parliament will take place in Cape Town with his family in attendance. Speaking to the media today, a minister in the presidency, Collins Jabane, said that no cameras or cell phones will be allowed in the union buildings during the period, but the people are expected to line the streets as the daily funeral procession makes its way to the venue. The long-proposed African standby force to respond to any security challenges within the African continent may become a reality by 2015. This is one of the benefits that will come from the Summit on Peace and Security in Africa, spearheaded by the President of France. The African Standby Force is expected to be more efficient than the ad hoc arrangements where France and other countries like Nigeria have had to undergo tremendous pressure in an effort to raise intervention forces to tackle insecurity in the continent. Other benefits from the summit include putting an end to the internal problems, especially the infiltration of small arms and light weapons into African countries.
Days, Nigeria's president and other African leaders had no dull moment in the French capital, Paris. Behind the ambience and the beauty that followed the summit is the growing concern of insecurity in the continent. Countries like France and Nigeria have over the years been stretched, as they are the ones that are easily called upon to assist when wars and terror attacks break up. Hence the need to have a standby force, one of the benefits from the summit.
We share similar concern with the French. We're getting increasingly involved in continental conflicts, overstretching our military. So when we have a standby force, which is not an ad hoc arrangement, that is deployable and effective and efficient, the pressure will be up Nigeria, or the demand of Nigerian military intervention within the continent, the demand of solely Nigerian military intervention within the continent will have reduced.
Another benefit for Nigeria is an issue that has been of great concern to President Goodluck Jonathan. Nigeria's president believes that proliferation of small arms into Africa is responsible for the upsurge of terrorism.
Mr. President tasked the meeting to locate the source of funding for this destabilizing agency in Africa. Where do they get the funding from?
The Elysee Summit has exposed to African leaders how peace, environment and development are interrelated. Other world leaders are watching how they will put the discussions and decisions taken from the summit into action. Perhaps in no distant time, wars will be a thing of the past in the African continent. Chukwuma Onwekusi in Paris for Channels Television News.
North Korea has deported a U.S. veteran of the Korean War who had been detained in the country since October. State news agency KCNA says Merle Newman was expelled on humanitarian grounds after confessing to crimes in the 1950-1953 war and apologizing.
Merle Newman walked through Beijing airport a free man on Saturday after being released from his 1-month detention in North Korea. The 85-year-old American citizen appeared in good spirits.
I'm very glad to be on my way home, and I appreciate the tolerance that DPRK government has given to me to be on my way.
Newman, a Korean War veteran, had been detained by authorities since October on charges that committed hostile acts against the country during the war. Last week, North Korean state television released a video of Newman reading from what appeared to be a handwritten apology. Back home in the U.S., Newman's son Jeff spoke to reporters outside the family's home in California.
As you can imagine, this has been a very difficult ordeal for us as a family, and particularly for him. We want to thank everyone who has made this possible. After Merle comes home and has a chance to get some well-deserved rest, we will have more to say about his unusual and difficult journey.
Merle Newman, who had earlier arrived in Beijing from Pyongyang, left China on a United Airlines direct flight to California, where he lives in a retirement community in Palo Alto.
And the main news again. The Inspector General of Police, Mohammed Abubakar, has kicked against state police, insisting that Nigeria is not ripe for it. And the proposal for an African standby force has received a major boost at the Elysee Summit on Peace and Security in Africa, as leaders in attendance have set 2015 as a date for the commencement of operations. That's it on the news at 10. Thank you so much for watching. I am Olumide Macaulay. Do have a good night.